Everyone thinks Bllok is the place to live in Tirana. The cafes, the bars, the energy, the vibe. But here's the thing nobody tells you. Living in Bllok is not the same as visiting Bllok. By day, it's charming. By night, it can feel like your balcony is part of the party.
Everybody thinks they want to live down here in Bllok, dude.
In today's video, we're breaking down the real experience of living here. The noise, the traffic, the rental prices, and the spots locals actually use. So before you sign a lease in the middle of the chaos, watch this. Before Bllok became Tirana's cafe district, it was the most restricted neighbourhood in the country. During communism, only the political elite were allowed to enter here. Everyone else was kept out behind guarded checkpoints. When the regime fell in the early 90s, the gates opened and Bllok quickly transformed into the city's social hub. That's why it's so compact, walkable, and packed with bars and cafes today. But it was never designed for the whole city, just a small, privileged circle. When people say they live in Bllok, that can mean almost anything. The name carries so much prestige that apartments 10 streets away still get advertised as Bllok so they can charge more. In this video, we're focusing on the actual Bllok, the compact area northeast of Wilson, the parts with the cafes, the nightlife, and the energy people think of when they imagine living here. The surrounding neighborhoods often get lumped in with Bllok online, but they have completely different living conditions, and the disclaimers in this video don't really apply there, so we will cover those areas separately. Bllok has a reputation, and it's a big one. This is the neighborhood people imagine when they picture life in Tirana. Trendy cafes on every corner, busy terraces, cocktail bars, restaurants, boutique shops, and a constant stream of people. It's walkable, social, lively, and it feels like the center of everything. That's why so many newcomers put Bllok at the top of their list. It looks like the perfect mix of Europe and Balkan energy, all packed into a few compact streets. Bllok is small, but it's packed with places you'll actually use if you live nearby. Not just Instagram cafes, but real, this makes my life easier spots. First up is Agimi Art Center, the old Kilima Agimi. These days, it's used for exhibitions and smaller cultural events, so it's really worth keeping an eye on their Instagram to see what's happening. It's one of those places you forget about until something cool pops up and suddenly you're going to an opening on a Tuesday night. Tucked away in a backyard around the corner is living room. It's easy to miss the first time, and walking inside feels a bit like stepping into someone's grandma's living room. Mismatched furniture, cozy, very un-Bllok in the best possible way. It's not a club, and it's not a high-energy cocktail place. It's a bar. If you're in a small group or you're happy to talk to strangers after midnight, this is a great place to land. Next is Duff Sports Bar. This is the go-to for international games and for sports from your home country that people here might not usually watch. If you want to watch the Super Bowl, rugby, or a different football league that isn't shown in most other bars, Duff is the place to ask if they can put it on. Just be aware that on big match nights, especially when Albania plays or during things like the Champions League final, the place fills up fast. Reservations are a necessity, and you're better off showing up before your reservation time actually starts to make sure you keep your table. A little further along the way, you've got My Way, another calmer corner in Bllok. It's more relaxed than the dancey cocktail bars. It's the kind of place where you sit with a group of friends, have a beer, and end up chatting to the people at the table next to you. If you like social, but not chaotic or dressy, then this one makes sense for you. For something more polished, there's Salt, one of Bllok's upmarket restaurants. The space looks great. I've, however, never been wowed by the food personally, but I have friends who absolutely love it. It's one of those ongoing Tirana debates you will end up having. If you actually want to dance, Charles Bistro is usually where people go. You'll get a mix of music and a mix of people. The door can be a little bit weird, especially with groups of mixed foreigners, and male-only groups generally won't get in. But that's true for most of the dancey places in Bllok. But once you're inside, it's a fun night. Right in the middle of this is Enver Hoxha's villa, the former dictator's house now used as a cultural space for events and exhibitions. It's a strange contrast. Heavy history, sitting right next to coffee and cocktails. For practical life stuff, the Lincoln Center, right next to Enver Hoxha's villa, runs group Albanian language classes and is a common choice for foreigners who actually want to get beyond Faleminderit. Their still bed and breakfast is a bit of a hybrid. The building runs as a B&B, and the co-working space used to be in a different location, but from what we've heard, it's now up on the top floor. If you work remotely and you want to stay close to Bllok, it is definitely one of the options to check out. Era Restaurant is one of the rare places that's both tourist-heavy and genuinely good. Despite the location, it's still one of the better options for traditional food in this area, and it's usually an easy recommendation when friends come and visit. For your four-legged friends, Petville is one of the most useful shops in the area. They stock a lot of the kinds of products many of us are used to from abroad, and we buy supplies for some of our team pets here. Then there's Jangoli, one of the few 24-hour supermarkets around. If you need anything after about 10 p.m., chances are this is where you'll end up at some point. Snacks, drinks, emergency, I forgot to buy something, they've got it. And finally, Njesia number 5, the local neighbourhood office. If you end up actually living in Bllok or Komuna, this is the administrative office where you go to register your address. Not glamorous, but very important when you're doing your residence permit. When it comes to renting in Bllok, here's the reality. You are paying for the name, not the square meters. Bllok has a reputation, and landlords absolutely know it, which is why apartments here almost always sit at the higher end of Tirana's price range. Most apartments in Bllok are 1 or 2 bedrooms. Larger ones do exist, but they are rare and expensive. A small 1-bedroom, anything under about 60 square meters, can start around 550 to 600 euros. Larger, actually livable 1-bedrooms tend to come in closer to 800 euros, and the ones that look nice on camera can easily go above 1,000 euros for not a lot of space. 2-bedrooms usually start around 800 to 900 euros, and they climb past 1,000 euros very quickly. And if you're looking for a 3-bedroom or anything larger, if you can even find it in this area, expect prices well above 1,500 euros, often pushing 2,000. And remember, the name Bllok gets used very loosely. You'll find listings 5 or 10 streets outside the actual core still marketed as Bllok, just so landlords can bump the price. That's part of why we're only covering the northern section above Sheshi Wilson in this video. The rest is not technically Bllok, and the living experience and noise levels are completely different. We're saving those areas for a separate walkthrough. Bllok has 2 personalities, and depending on when you visit, you might think it's either the most charming neighborhood in Tirana or absolute chaos. During the day, especially in autumn when we filmed, it feels surprisingly calm. Cafes are full, people are working on laptops, and you can actually hear yourself think. It's pretty, walkable, and honestly feels a lot gentler than its reputation. But nighttime is a different universe, and in summer it gets even louder. Bllok is one of the nightlight hubs of the city, which means you've got music, cars, scooters, people shouting across the street, and the party happens whenever it wants energy. And this isn't limited to weekends. Any night of the week can turn into a party night. If you have windows facing the street, expect noise until 1 a.m., 2 a.m., sometimes later. And if you're watching this in tourist season, multiply all of that by 10. Between visitors, returning Albanians, and the general summer buzz, quiet nights are rare. That's why people love Bllok. And it's also why people move out of Bllok. Bllok is one of those neighborhoods everyone thinks they should live in, until they actually spend time here. It's fun, it's central, it's iconic, but it's also loud, cramped, and more expensive than most people expect for what you actually get. If you're someone who thrives on nightlife, wants cafes on your doorstep, doesn't mind noise, and plans to be out more than you're at home, Bllok might genuinely be your place. But if you're looking for space, calmer streets, better value for money, or just a good night's sleep in summer, you're probably going to be happier in some of the other areas we're covering in the upcoming videos. So think of Bllok as a great place to visit, and a very specific kind of place to live. If you want to get to know Tirana's other neighborhoods, the ones locals actually recommend, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the upcoming videos.